listening to the EPT Works Listen, Love, Give podcast. Hi, I'm Dr. Annette Cargioli, the Forgiveness Doctor. I'm here to help you create phenomenal health, happiness, and new life with energy, intuition, and forgiveness. EPT is short for Emotional Polarity Technique, an innovative, holistic emotional therapy that will change your life for good. You can subscribe to this podcast, get free EPT training at eptworks.com, and like us on Facebook. So in today's podcast that you're listening to, I have 3 audience members in my very high-tech studio, my upstairs bedroom. I have Linda Collier and 2 master practitioners. I have Steve Olson and Sherry Hamilton, and they're going to discuss with me, after I finish my content, the differences in EPT, Emotional Polarity Technique, and EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique. So here we go, the difference. What is the difference between EPT and EFT? EFT was developed by Gary Craig in 1994. Ironically, this is about the same time I began teaching and developing EPT. Gary expanded what he learned from neuro-linguistic programming and Roger Callahan's teaching to create EFT. EFT is now mostly referred to as the tapping technique or the tapping solution. I expanded what I learned from Scott Walker, founder of Neuro-Emotional Technique, along with a whole host of books and teachers that crossed my path to create Emotional Polarity Technique or EPT. You can learn the full details of my discovery in my book, The Forgiveness Doctor, and you can find that on Amazon. Now, while I was raising 5 kids and building my holistic healing practice, I kind of dabbled in my seminar business, teaching a little more each year. On the other hand, Gary Craig is a little bit older than me and had the luxury of time and money to expand his teaching of Emotional Freedom Technique through his wonderful marketing. Gary is a very talented and generous man, and it is through his marketing genius that EFT has become the most well-known energy psychology technique in the world. It is an extremely useful basic foundation for energy emotional healing release. It was years after I developed the core of EPT that I learned of Gary Craig and EFT. EPT was different from EFT in that it was not a self-help therapy, but a collaborative therapy where 2 or more people come together with a conscious intention for healing, with respect for the greater connection of consciousness being essential to the movement of energy and expansion of one's consciousness. In other words, in EPT, we recognize the unseen energy connection that exists when 2 or more people collaborate for the good outcome. I call that unseen connection love, or God, or the Holy Spirit. In EPT, we value that unseen connection even more than the actual EPT technique. The combination of the 2 elements, 1, the actual EPT technique, and 2, a respect and honor for the unseen force of love that connects us all when we collaborate for the good of others. This combination speeds up the healing process and serves to raise consciousness of the energy of divine love. It is our awareness of our connection to this divine loving energy that awakens us to the love that we are and have always been and will always be. While EFT is a beginner course with indispensable value, EPT quickly incorporates deeper concepts that quickly and efficiently identify the individual's unique limiting beliefs based on their unique life experience. And then EPT changes those beliefs that no longer serve you. EFT is designed to take the zing out of your physical system so things don't bother you as much and you are free to make new choices. EPT is designed to find it, the exact body memory that holds you in an undesirable life experience. Fix it. Take the zing out of your body reaction. And most important, forgive it. Forgive the people who have hurt you. Forgive yourself for the beliefs that hold you in the pain that people have caused you. And give others permission to forgive you for the hurt you may have caused to them. EPT is a comprehensive mind, body, spirit, holistic therapeutic process that is practical and easily understood. The one word that describes the biggest difference between EFT and EPT is love. EPT focuses on forgiveness to connect you to the field of infinite divine love. EPT serves healing through tapping into the power of love. And that single aspect makes EPT powerful and different. So, Sherry, do you have something to add to that?
I probably can. I have worked with a lot of clients who know EFT. I've done EFT myself, and I'm with you on that explanation you gave that EPT is much more comprehensive. EFT is tapping points. Oftentimes, people who have done this self-help method are looking for something more than just getting rid of that energy that's bothering them. But even with all the tapping they've done, they still haven't gotten everything out of their system, is why they've come and found somebody else who's doing an energy psychology technique, me. And then I go, oh, here's the work you've done. I assess that, and I'm able to take them to a different level and get the healing they're looking for. So it is totally different that you're working with somebody on your stuff rather than just trying to tap it out of your body, the sensation.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So much of EFT is based on what you already know or what that person knows that they want to change in their feelings in their body. So they actually say they're going through a divorce and they know, I really feel upset about this divorce and I have all these feelings about this divorce, and you just tap on the divorce. Whereas in EPT, we always look for a root cause, a connected memory to the pain that the person may be experiencing in the divorce that is really amping up the pain in the divorce. So we go to an original event, say the possibility of when mom and dad got divorced when I was 6 years old. And I may need to forgive my parents even more than I need to forgive my husband for divorcing me. So that's the kind of depth that we get into. So Steve, what do you think?
Well, I think that the self-help part of EFT is beneficial to people, but they do tend to get stuck in doing the repetitive tapping over and over for the same thing. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that they have a limited insight based on their beliefs into what the real problem is. So they're never able to completely focus on that root cause. And what we find in practice is that by getting to that root issue, by being able to shine a laser on the root issue, which is the file that the brain is actually opening up, as opposed to that particular point in time or issue that they're having now in their life, by being able to tie the original conditioning event and the file that the brain created at that time to the current event that's going on, we're able to pinpoint or create a metaphor between the two that allows the fixing through our magnetic therapy and then the forgiveness of that original file. So in effect, we're scrambling the original file in one application, and that allows them to be relieved of the need to continuously tap on that same issue over and over again, because when you scramble that root issue, the need for tapping dissipates because the zing that's attached to that emotional original conditioning event is relieved in the field of love and forgiveness.
I love that. Yeah. And, it's really true that a lot of people, tap when they're tappers, the whole tapping solution, they seem to tap on every bad thing that happens in life, so to speak. It's like I'm tapping constantly. Now, I say that, and I've had a lot of EPT done. So I've done a lot of the EPT release using forgiveness and magnets. We actually do use magnets over the body to change the organs and how the body holds itself with magnetic energy specifically. And what's amazing to me is the reason, very quickly, people who are involved in doing EPT and transforming their life with EPT, very quickly what they are going for is less pain relief and more expanded awareness. Their ability to actually meet into their world or their environment in that field of love and forgiveness is just quickly expanded. And the reason they want to do more forgiveness is because they want that access to that beautiful state of love and just openness and feeling connected to the whole. And that's really what happens. And I don't see that happening as easily. It depends on the person who's doing the application of EFT. But in general, when somebody's doing it on their own, that ability to start reaching out into connecting to the wholeness that we're all connected to, it just seems like that's a little more obviously supported in EPT. So what about you, Linda?
When Steve was talking, my thought was expanding your ability to love. And that's really what we're working toward. And those things that zing us, there's no doubt that EFT does take the zing out of it as you go through it. What it doesn't compare to EPT is that the zing is a permanent removal when you expand your ability to love in the situation that you're in. That is where the zing is taken out permanently. The change in the physiology, the physical reaction to an emotion, the anger that you might feel, being able to love in that situation rather than be angry in that situation, it changes your whole way that you look at a situation that has zinged you probably for many years and probably most of your life. So that's what I see it as.
There's another thing about EPT also that I think very seldom appears in someone doing self-help with EFT. And that is that we find that some of the statements that are crafted in order to get us to a place of forgiveness are statements that some people have difficulty even comprehending the possibility of being able to say. Like, I give myself permission to love my ex-wife who betrayed and cheated on me, or, things like most people would go, oh, no. That's not comfortable for me to say that. And Dr. Annette has a specific skill at crafting backdoor entryways to assist the mind or cajole the mind into allowing that forgiveness. And that's a whole nother discussion in itself. But the fact that following a certain number of steps, and in her backdoor methods, I like to call them, you find a person who can say, okay, I forgive my dad for the abuse that I had for 6 years, or, Grandpa or Uncle Jim. That person can actually bring verbally forgiveness to somebody who, before the session started, they would have said ruined their life and changed them forever. And then through this ability to formulate these statements and repeat these statements and truly employ forgiveness, it opens up a whole new space in them now to go forward. So not only are we eliminating a sticking point or a blockade in their development and all the limiting beliefs that go along with it, but you're now opening up new space to propel yourself forward by not forgiving the act necessarily. It doesn't condone the act, but the forgiveness opens the new space where there's negative emotion being held so that new positive things can happen in your life. So that's like an exponential benefit of emotional polarity technique that really is not introduced into or part of the paradigm of emotional freedom technique.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that emotional freedom technique as a goal for the person who's using it is exactly what it says. I want the freedom from this pain in my life. I want the freedom from the debt I've created. I want the freedom from my past. And really, it's kind of egocentric in the sense that I want freedom. I want it for me. I want to feel better. I want my life to look a certain way. And in EPT, we're really looking to expand that consciousness that says the only way I'm really going to have freedom is when I can connect in love and value my fellow man. And I can actually value the lowest denominator, that child abuser or that murderer or that sex offender, or name whoever it is who does not deserve love, who deserves exclusion. And in EPT, we're looking at, since we're all part of the whole, if I can't love the unlovable, I'm actually not able to love myself. When I can't love myself, I really don't have freedom. I have lost that freedom. So we definitely in EPT, we're looking to cause not just I'm going to feel better and you're going to have a great life and you're going to make lots of money and you're going to lose weight and your marriage is going to be perfect and everything you want is going to happen the way you want it to happen. Instead, we're saying the only thing your soul really desires is to connect to this wholeness of love, this matrix of love that we all came from. And forgiveness is one of the primary actions of love that we can do to kind of nurture that energy and to bring us into that space. But it's like identifying every space where I have been cut off from that source of love and finding the way back to that love. And in doing that, that is exactly what I wanted. That's what I'm seeking. And when I can get there, our saying in EPT is, this is not where I thought I was going. I thought I was getting debt free. I thought I was getting lots of money. I thought I was getting a beautiful figure and a great marriage and a good looking husband and a man who loves me and perfect children. I thought that's what I was getting. But instead, this is not where I thought I was going. It's so much better. When you can hook into that bigger matrix of love through the act of forgiveness, through the act of affirmation and desire to connect in love, you know what? What your ego wants becomes less and less important. But what actually manifests in your life is so much better than what you thought you wanted when you were started. And that's really what we're seeking. That is the primary difference, is foundationally what our goals are in EPT are really different than what our goals are in EFT.
You guys have touched on it a couple times. Steve said it was this laser focus. When performing self-help EFT, you are really going into the doorway of your psyche through a feeling you have, and it does not allow you, from your perspective, to necessarily remember what's stored in your unconscious from your childhood, your nonverbal days, your past events. You may have an idea of some of those, but many of them, you're going to open a file. So that feeling that you're trying to desensitize using EFT, it's kind of this guess or this space that you're trying to just desensitize through the tapping. But EPT actually says, here's what's in the file. Here's the memory. Let's see what needs forgiven there. So it lasers you in very rapidly.
It's asking, where did you cut off from love? Where did you get separated from love? And how can you restore that lost connection with love?
And one of the other advantages here is that there's a concerted focus and a concerted consciousness of a group of people, particularly when we're working on EPT constellations. You have a continual flow of input that exponentially increases the focus, and there's a synergy that takes place there among the different people involved that plays upon each statement that's made, and it brings clarity sometimes through 3 or 4 statements. 3 or 4 times a statement may be said in a slightly different way, and then suddenly someone will hit upon exactly the idea and everybody just goes, there it is. You can feel the energy shift in the room. People get goosebumps and chills and hair stands up, and the person who's having the work done goes, oh, wow. There's epiphanies that happen through this interactive EPT that still amaze me every time we do one of these constellations. We're all surprised.
And again, I think it really boils down to what the goals are. And there is tremendous value in that step into the world that says, my life is awful, I'm in a lot of pain. And to even start tapping and to do EFT says that I have decided to believe it could be better. And that's really the first step into reconnecting to love, is accepting I am in pain, my marriage is falling apart, my body is a wreck, I'm dying of cancer, whatever that is, that I'm going to look and I go, I've decided my life could feel better. And even if that is egocentric, that is the first step into the direction of reconnecting to love. And EFT certainly brings in lots of people. It's just that EPT takes it another step, is by saying, now that you believe it could be better, now you may start to believe even more that love exists for you, and that love really is the answer, that love really is the great healer, the connector, that is what you're seeking, and that is legit, that is available. And EPT offers a pathway through forgiveness and a focus on that reconnection with self and with love and with the source that really takes out that self-seeking, I'm in pain, I need to get out of pain, where the person is just constantly trying to manifest something in their life because they haven't really come to this place of peace. It's not out of a relationship with something greater. It's out of the need for ego. So EPT has just a whole different type of goal and approach, in that we start out by we're seeking what needs to be forgiven in order to reconnect this person to the wholeness that they have lost contact with themselves, that is in them, the wholeness that is there. And everything is wrapped around that. It's not just, what's it going to take for me to lose 50 pounds? It's just not about that kind of healing. It's about much more.
As always, you can subscribe to this podcast, like us on Facebook, and go get your free training at EPTworks.com. I'm Dr. Annette Cargioli, the Forgiveness Doctor. Until next time, listen, love, give. EPT works.